It's the main event of SummerSlam. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns for the WWE and Universal Championships. Roman Reigns is in trouble. On the stage, we see Paul Heyman appear with the Usos. It's the Bloodline again. They've been banned from ringside. The referee is yelling at them from the ring to get to the back. Roman is down and Drew is primed and ready to strike with a Claymore. But from the crowd, while the referee is distracted, comes Solo Sikoa. The live crowd is in shock. McIntyre is down. Reigns recovers. And Sikoa makes his way back over the barricade and through the crowd. Reigns has retained. Heyman and the Usos look on very, very pleased with their actions. And it seems as though the Bloodline just got stronger. On the SmackDown after SummerSlam, all 5 men are in the ring. Roman Reigns is out the front as usual, but before he can even speak, here comes the Scottish Monster. He storms out onto the stage and he says, "Reigns, I see you've got one more person you can hide behind. Well, I have friends too." Out steps Orton and Riddle, and they stand beside Drew McIntyre, unified. In the weeks to follow, there is an all-out war between the Bloodline, McIntyre and RK Bro. Orton is throwing out RKOs for fun. Riddle is landing Bro Derricks, but it's certainly not all one way. The Usos are getting theirs too. But the real impressive performer is Solo Sikoa. Sikoa was able to capitalize while RK Bro and the Usos were brawling at ringside, and Drew McIntyre was being distracted by the carnage. Sikoa nails a splash and gets a huge pinfall, and this would impress the tribal chief Roman Reigns, who would later praise Sikoa, saying, "You're doing the family proud. I see big things for you. You'll make a great IC champ or US champ. Keep it up, kid. We're proud of you." The next pay-per-view on the calendar is Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, Wales. Drew McIntyre, despite the loss to Sikoa, has managed to work his way back into contention for Reigns' championship. Sikoa isn't overly pleased with this because he does hold a victory over the number 1 contender. And Sikoa is competitive. He wants to be at the top, but Adam Pearce has decided that due to the nature of the losses that Drew McIntyre has sustained, he deserves another shot. And we're backstage before the show in Cardiff, and Sikoa makes this very known to Paul Heyman. He says that if anyone deserves a shot, it's him. But Paul is really quick to shut this down. He says to Solo that this isn't how it works around here. We all work together to stay on top. We don't eat our own. I'm trying to line up a shot at the Intercontinental Championship or something for you. I think that's where you're at right now. Just stick to the plan we have tonight, and then we will talk. It's late in the main event of Clash at the Castle. McIntyre versus Reigns, and they're going to war. Both men are down. But once again, the Bloodline is banned from ringside. And once again, Heyman and the Usos are on the entrance disobeying the rules. But once again, Sikoa comes over the barricade, and he looks at the 2 men down in the ring. But instead of focusing on McIntyre, he's actually looking at a down Reigns. What is he thinking? Is he really considering laying his hands on the tribal chief? But as he's thinking, McIntyre recovers. Sikoa turns around and gets nailed with a Claymore. Sikoa is bundled out of the ring. McIntyre is looking down at him and surveying the damage. McIntyre spins around, realizing that Reigns might have recovered, and he has. Reigns spears McIntyre, and he picks him up, and he locks in the guillotine. McIntyre passes out. He doesn't tap. Once again, Reigns has escaped. He is still the champion. But why was Sikoa considering putting his hands on Reigns? In the weeks after the event, McIntyre is now focusing his attention squarely on Sikoa. He essentially cost him 2 chances to capture the gold. And backed up by Arcade Bro, who still have issues with the Usos, they go to war. They're embroiled in a back and forth battle, assaulting each other at every single opportunity. And at the same time this is going on, a new contender for Roman Reigns' championship has emerged. It's the one and only Cody Rhodes. And we're on the road to the Survivor Series, and the Bloodline is under serious threat. Rhodes is building momentum. He's been able to get one over on Roman Reigns multiple times. The Usos and Sikoa are being held at bay by RK Bro and Drew McIntyre, and they are set to do battle in a Survivor Series elimination match to settle their grudge. It's down to 2. Sikoa has been unbelievable. He has eliminated both members of RK Bro himself. Paul Heyman is trying to interject. He's on the apron. McIntyre is standing looking at Heyman. Sikoa makes a run at McIntyre. He evades though. Sikoa goes crashing into Heyman. McIntyre nails him with a claymore and picks up the win. Sikoa is furious at ringside with Heyman, who is pleading with him not to hurt him. Sikoa leaves him be, but he's not happy at all. He storms to the back and he's met by Roman Reigns, who is readying up for his match, which is up next. Reigns says, "We are winners around here, and yet I don't hear your name being called. What the hell was that? Now let me show you how it's really done. And remember to follow the plan we have. Don't make any more mistakes and fall in line." Sikoa stares at Reigns. He's absolutely furious. He walks off without saying anything. It's deep into the main event. Rhodes and Reigns have thrown everything at each other. Rhodes is on top. And as predicted, here come the Bloodline again. Surely not the same plan again. Surely it can't work. Rhodes is looking around knowing that Sikoa should be around imminently. But he's nowhere to be seen. Rhodes seizes the opportunity. He nails Reigns with a crossroad. He covers him. 1, 2, no! Unbelievable! Reigns has survived again. Rhodes gets frustrated. He's emotional. He wants this more than anything. He looks for a spear. But no! Reigns catches him in a guillotine and Rhodes goes to sleep. It's heartbreak for Rhodes and a narrow escape for the tribal chief. As Reigns is celebrating, we see Paul Heyman up on the ramp utter the words, "Where the hell was Solo?" The next week on SmackDown, we're in the tribal chief's private dressing room. Reigns is livid with Solo Sikoa. He is berating this young man and he says, "What the hell did I tell you about following the plan? Ever since you got here, you haven't fallen in line. We are winners here. At Survivor Series, you lost. All we do here is procure titles. Where the hell is yours? If you're so great, where is your championship?" Sikoa looks at him dead in the eye and he says, "You carry them to the ring. That's where my championships are." We're closing in on one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, the Royal Rumble. And the next couple of weeks, the tension between everybody builds up. Sikoa goes on a rampage, winning match after match after match. And now there's a lot of buzz about him. And that buzz is that perhaps he deserves a crack at Roman Reigns and his championship. Reigns and Heyman are seen having a conversation, but they demand that the cameras be shut off. Solo and his brothers, Jimmy and Jay, they're having a conversation in another room, and they demand that the cameras be shut off as well. This all comes to a head on SmackDown. Paul Heyman calls for a meeting, held behind closed doors, but there is CCTV footage of this meeting. And while you can't hear what they're saying, Paul Heyman is clearly sent out of the room. As the meeting continues, you can tell the tension is growing. Reigns is yelling. Sikoa is yelling. Then it ends. The Usos leave the room, and it's left with just Solo and Roman. Roman says something stern to Sikoa, and Sikoa leaves the room. Roman is left there alone. The next week on SmackDown, Paul Heyman cold opens the show. He says, "Tonight, the Bloodline have been given permission to air our grievances with a live mic in the middle of the ring, and we will do so." All 5 men are in the ring. Before it even gets underway, Heyman is told to leave the ring. Reigns says it's potentially not safe for him to be there. Roman looks at Sikoa, who is standing with the backing of his brothers facing Reigns, who doesn't have anyone behind him. Roman asks the simple question, "Have you acknowledged your tribal chief today?" Solo doesn't even break eye contact. He isn't backing down. And Roman says, "Okay, I see how this is. You got your brothers, you got your backup. 2 men I made in this business. Those 2 would be nothing without jumping on my back. Hell, you'd be nothing without jumping on my back, but instead of letting me carry you to success, you've just weighed me down, and now, after I made you, I made all 3 of you, and you stand across the ring from me instead of behind me like you should. I said acknowledge me. You either stand with me or you stand against me." Jay looks at Reigns and he says, "That's your problem, Roman. Always about you. We always did what you wanted. Well, now, we do what we want. And yeah, we stand against you. But we don't need to stand beside him to do that. He doesn't need us to win like you do." The Usos actually leave the ring, leaving Sikoa and Reigns to stand face to face, one-on-one. And then Reigns reveals something that was said in the meeting. He says, "All right, I'll hold up my end of the bargain. I said to you in that meeting that if you had the balls to stand face to face alone with me in this ring, that I would give you your chance. So I'll see your ass at the Royal Rumble and we'll fight for the title. But know this, just because we're family doesn't mean I won't smash you like the rest." The 2 men stare down. The bloodline has fractured, and we are on to the Royal Rumble with a match that is about so much more than just the title. Reigns, Sikoa, all the gold on the line, and we are deep into the match, and Sikoa has specifically requested that his brothers aren't at ringside. Reigns and Sikoa are embroiled in a war for the ages. Roman is well on top though. He's dominating now. The experience is showing. Solo is full of fight, but it's clear that perhaps this stage wasn't what he expected. Reigns is smashing Sikoa. Then, from the back, out walks Rikishi, Solo's father. He comes to ringside. Solo is down and out, and Rikishi gets on the apron and he says to Roman, "Enough. The boy has learned his lesson. Put him away. End this. We are family." Roman looks at Rikishi. He turns to Solo, who is laying in a heap on the ground. And he snaps back at Rikishi and he blasts the Hall of Famer with a monster right hand and wipes him out onto the floor. Reigns says he chose this so he can live with the consequences. As Reigns turns around though, boom! A super kick. Solo has fought back. He leaps to the top rope. He nails the splash. 1, 2. No! Reigns kicks out. Reigns is still alive. Solo goes back up top though. He looks for another splash, but no! Reigns gets the knees up. Solo is in big trouble. Reigns launches, builds up a head of steam, and boom! He nails him with a spear. Reigns wins again. Reigns has survived. It's unbelievable. How does he keep doing it? This legendary reign continues. After the match, Rikishi is tending to his son. He's furious with Roman. So he gets in the ring he gets in the face of the tribal chief. He says, "You've brought shame to the family. You've acted with no respect. So you'll get no respect from us. How dare you dishonor the Anoa'i name?" Reigns doesn't even hesitate. He locks in the guillotine on Rikishi. Rikishi is out, but Reigns won't let go. The boos are out of control. There is a near riot in the arena from the crowd. They are screaming at Reigns to let go. The Usos run down. The two sons of Rikishi, but Reigns takes care of both of them. He then turns back to Rikishi and he locks in the guillotine again. He won't let it go.